the world we were promised in the 60s and 70s come to life, you know?
Well, yes. But you know what that tells us is that it is up to us to create the world we want. We can't wait for other people to do it for us.
That's right.
We have to make it. We have to talk it into existence. Because if you wait for other people to do it, they got all kinds of questions. They want to tell you all kinds of reasons it can't be done.
Right.
And who has time for that?
Ain't nobody got time for that. No, it's true. And, what they say on the airplane, put the max on your face before you put the max on your child face.
Yeah.
So, because you can't save nobody if you're dead.
This is true. This is true. But I don't know why they don't just make that very clear. Because, somebody's always bitching.
Yeah.
Well, why do I have to do that? Why do I need to put it on my child's? Because if you're dead, your kid can't reach it.
Why do you think that is? Why must we explain everything? Because it feels like the young mice think they can outsmart the mousetrap, but they can't. I'm sure some have, but the truth is, someone needed to tell people, oh, you don't do this because this is what will happen.
I think it started with people who are probably in their 50s who decided, I'm not gonna raise my kids like my parents raised me. They're gonna be freer, they're not gonna have to call me miss or master, and they're not gonna have to do any of those things. And whenever people start taking certain things that you must keep just to keep on balance away, things fall away.
Right.
I had a fight with somebody because I was saying, how is it possible that anyone's parents did not say to them, do not get into that elevator with that person or go to that person's room, because anything that happens when you cross that threshold, you can't prove. I'm telling you, these are young women. They screamed at me and said, how dare you, you're blaming us? I'm just like, no, but doesn't it make sense?
Right.
That if you're going into somebody's room that you don't know, that once that door is closed, they can say whatever they want to say.
Yeah.
So why put yourself in that position?
Right.
And I keep getting into trouble for what my mother taught me was common sense.
Common sense.
In our day, Ru,
Oh.
when you took naked pictures, damn it, you kept them.
Yes. You're absolutely right. It's almost like that people have forgotten how the game of chess is a way to live your life. If everything has a cause and an effect, and if you think of life that way, you'll probably be in good shape.
Yeah.
Everyone wants everyone else to be responsible for them, but I've always lived my life that no one is really responsible for me but me.
Yeah. We live in a world right now that feels like there's no consequences, but there are. They sometimes take a year or two to come up and bite you in the ass, but they're always on the move towards your behind.
Yeah.
I think the key is making a decision about who you want to be. You may not always be the grand person you want to be, but you're working towards the best you that you want to be. And one of the things that I loved coming in here was one of the things that I heard from lots and lots of different folks was, you changed my life, Ru. You... And I want to acknowledge that, because it was, look, this is who I am. Dig it, don't dig it, I don't care. And I just want to say, it is a hard thing to be an individual. But when you are one, you are stronger, you are clearer, and you are better. Yeah. And you help people decide who they want to be and show them how they could be, and then how they could do exponential things with that. And so it is an honor and a pleasure to be sitting next to you, because there are not a lot of people who are comfortable in who they are.
Thank you. Thank you so much. We are talking with Whoopi Goldberg here. Whoopi Goldberg has won every award known to man. And she has, just an hour ago, added lady to...
That's right, because no one was sure.
Well, these days you don't really have to decide what you are. You just
Well,
be.
it feels like you could just be, but here's the truth. Things keep changing, and I'm not sure what I want to be because I think next week there'll be something else for me to think about that might be more me.
You were born Karen Johnson.
Yes, I was.
When you think in your head,
Yes.
do you think as Karen Johnson or do you think as Whoopi Goldberg?
You cannot take them from each other.
Mm-hmm.
They're one brain.
Now, because you work with someone called Karen, who I call K-Ron.
Yes.
Now, when people say, Karen, do you ever think, do you still sort of turn around?
Sometimes. But then there are only 3 or 4 people that still do it or who did it. And 2 of those people now live in Miami, so I know it's not them. And 2 cops, and I know it's not them.
Probably not them, no.
Well, one hopes it's not them.
I tell people all the time, if you're getting into show business, don't do what I did and use your real name. Use another name because on all the papers at the gynecologist and all that stuff, they know, is this Miss RuPaul? Is that the gynecologist? So is that why you changed your name?
Here's what happened. I used to be Whoopi Cushion.
Whoopi who?
Cushion.
Oh, Cushion.
I was Whoopi Cushion, and then I was Whoopi Couchon.
Couchon, okay.
And my mother said to me, "What are you doing?"
Who said that?
My mother.
Uh-huh.
She said, "Why are you making a silly name when you're good at what it sounds like you're apologizing by making it silly." And I said, "Oh, really? Oh, great namer of the stars?"
Karen Johnson, right?
She said, "As a matter of fact, yes." So I said, "Well, what would you do?" She said, "Well, I'd go into one of the family names." And so she named off a lot of names I recognized and a lot of names I didn't. And she said, "I like this one." And she said, "I like Whoopi Goldberg." And I said, "Yeah, okay."
Yeah.
It was the right name because it was silly enough to make me comfortable, because Whoopi comes from the Whoopi cushion. Yes. Yes, it does. And I tell people all the time, it's all about a fart, okay? But it has the gravitas of one of the names that one of our grandmothers and one of her husbands had. And that's the Goldberg part. And people keep saying, "Are you Jewish?" And my answer is, does it matter?
Right.
Why does that have anything to do with who I am?
Yeah.
I am a universal character. That's what I am.
Yeah.
I'm like an emoji, but weirder.
We all got to know you. Was it 84 on Broadway?
Yes.
Everyone in town was talking about Whoopi Goldberg on the lips. Yeah, and that happens in New York.
Yes.
The summer of 84, everybody was talking about Whoopi Goldberg. Were you aware of that heat that you were generating?
Well, yes and no. So I was rehearsing with Mike Nichols, and he was rehearsing The Real Thing and Hurly Burly and Death of a Salesman.
4 shows at once.
Mike, there was nobody like him, and me.
Yeah.
And then I was with a lady who did all the press, and we're walking down the street one day, and she says, "Can I tell you something?" And I was like, "Yeah." And she's like, "This is the last time you're going to be able to walk down the street like this, where nobody is yelling your name, where people don't know who you are." And I was like, "Oh, come on." And then the story came out.
Yeah.
And then truck drivers like, "Hey, Whoopi.
Yeah. Wow.
I just read about you, baby. You on HBO, Whoopi." It's like,
Do you miss that anonymity?
you know what? I can have it when I don't want to come out. I can sit in my backyard and be quite anonymous. I know that when I come outside, I have to come out. Well, you know this. When you step outside your door, you're stepping out as Ru. So you have to adjust yourself and go, when I leave this room, people are going to want to talk. They're going to want to touch. They're going to want to hug because it's meaningful. You mean something to people. And suddenly someone says something to you. Like, my mom was passing away and the show we loved to watch was Drag Race, and you're like, "Oh my God, I don't know if I can take a deep breath," because you don't realize that you affect people. You must go through this because I've seen people just kind of go, hi. Because it's a huge deal.
Yeah.
You're a huge deal. You're a game changer.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. You know what's interesting? Your work ethic. You have done so much. I mean, Broadway and television and movies and being a host on The View and television commercials and just everything. Producer. Yeah. Have you directed anything?
I keep saying I want to, but I realize that I actually don't. It's not in me to direct.
Really?
I'm a much better dramaturg. I'm a much better, if I can work with a director to tell them what I'm seeing that they may be missing, that's better for me.
Talking about being an individual, you have carved a lane for yourself that's uniquely yours in this business that no one else has ever done before. What do you attribute that to?
Hubris. Hubris is when you think all that about you. And I believe that I can do anything. I believe I can. And so that's how I present myself. However, it is a dangerous thing to do because it pisses people off. It's a rough ride, this. This has been a little bit of a rough ride because all the things that I knew I could do, people kept saying, no, you can't, no, you can't, no, you can't. And they got me to the place where I started saying, nah, I can't do that. As opposed to, I don't want to do that. That's not for me. So I'm just coming back to how do they know that I can't? How does anybody know what I'm capable of? I've tried to be in a little box and be, listen to other people and be, respectful and stuff. And now I've gotten tired of it. I've gotten to the age where it's like, wait a minute. You are younger than me. You don't know. You don't know. And before you tell me what I can't do, ask me what I can do. And trust me when I say I can do it. And so it's a readjustment always of what you know about you. The longer you live, the more times you're gonna have to readjust because, people are very funny. They think they're doing you a favor when they say, well, you can't do that. Come on, let's do something different. Let's not do. And it's like, no, this is what I'm trying to do. I don't know what you're trying to do. And I'll help you later if you want help, but don't rain on this parade.
It's kind of hard to imagine anyone telling you that you can't do something.
Oh, honey. Yeah, it's always, so that you didn't see what you saw, you didn't feel what you felt, or they didn't really mean it. It's like, listen, I've been around long enough. I know doublespeak when I hear it, and I know what you meant. No, yeah.
Whoopi, there are a lot of individuals in this audience, and a lot of people have ambition and want to do things, lots of things, that, as you have in your career and your life. What advice can you give to someone who say they want to be in show business, or say they want to start a business, they want to sort of push away some of the doubt in their lives and to move forward? What would you tell a person who is struggling with that?
Listen, the truth is, if you want it, try it. Do the homework. None of this is easy. Unless you're very, 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 very lucky, where stuff just drops out of the sky and lands in your hand, you actually have to learn how to do it. You want to be in show business? Learn the art. It is an art form. Acting is an art form. It looks like just anybody can do it, but then you watch their movies and you find out they can't. You're just like, oh my God. Sing, babe, don't act. Because it's an art form. It is an art to do this. It isn't, people don't just get up and sing on Broadway. You gotta be really good. You gotta know how to do it. You have to know the history of what it is you want to do. So you have to take the time to learn it. And if you're lucky and someone allows you to do something after, a short amount of time, great, but learn it. You gotta look and see where you can make a difference. But you gotta do the work, and you can't expect it overnight. And yeah, you're gonna have to work weeks. This is years. This takes time. And anything that you want, that you really want, you gotta learn how to do it.
Yeah.
It's not just because you want it, you gotta learn it. Say, no, I want it right away. And then my thing to you would be, so you want to be a star. You don't want to be an actor. Mm-hmm. You don't want to be a lawyer. Because, can you imagine? So you go into the courtroom.
With the good clothes, good suit.
Looking good. Everything is cool. And the judge says, so how long have you been practicing? So, I don't know, 2 weeks. Would you continue to sit with that lawyer? No. So whatever it is you want to learn how to do, be it the law or learning to sing, learn it.
Okay, so here you are. You have done all of these things. What would you like to do? Do you have aspirations?
Oh, yeah.
Now that you're a lady.
Now that I'm a lady.
Yeah. What are they?
I want to live in fun. I want to live not angry all the time.
Good luck.
Well, you know what? I decided I'm not gonna do it, because that's also how people keep you down. If they can keep you pissed off, it means you're not thinking about anything but that. Mm-hmm. And I refuse it. When I was a child growing up, the folks that were in power then also felt that gay people and black people and Asian people, that we didn't really belong here. This is the same thing. The difference is we were motivated to change. And I don't know how motivated people are, because we have a lot of these things that we look at, Mm-hmm. And so if we can figure out a way to not care what social media is saying about us, how can these people who don't know you, who have seen a picture of you, who don't know anything about you, don't know anything about your life or your family or what you've gone through, how can you allow them to determine anything about you and put your sense of self in some stranger's hands? Mm-hmm. You are saying to strangers, I'm going to let you dictate my life. And once we say, oh, wait a minute, I'm not letting you dictate. You can't dictate anything to me, because you don't know me. Once we get to that place where we can say, look, I don't need to check to see if you like me. Mm-hmm. Take it out of other people's hands and take it back. Mm-hmm. Once we do that, and then we make Amazon pay the taxes they owe, it is a whole other thing. That's my name.
Yeah, I know, talk about angry. You have a thing about, and rightfully so, that Amazon should be paying tax. You're saying they don't pay.
If you make it in America, we should be benefiting from that. Andrew Yang opened my eyes to this idea that he has that says give every American $1,000 a month. Because between Facebook and Amazon and the 3 or 4 other gigantic billion-dollar companies, if they had to give all of us $1,000 a month, that would take people's minds off, can I pay my rent? It would slow down the amount of people on the streets. It would allow people to have enough of a feel that they could put their kid in a reasonable daycare. It means you can get to the doctor. It means so many things. And it also means that man who's determined to build the wall, he'd have some money to build the wall.
That's true.
He's very mad at China for doing what he did to us when he bragged about not paying any taxes. I don't get that part. But see, people are shaking their heads. But are you pissed about it? Vote is what I'm talking about.
Yes.
That's what I'm talking about. You've got to vote.
Yes. Yeah. All right, so now we're going to take some questions now. Just make sure it's a good question and all that, so we don't have to embarrass you.
Hi.
What's your name?
I'm Sammy.
Where are you from?
Originally from Florida, but I live in New York now.
New York, yeah. What neighborhood in New York?
Kips Bay.
Oh, Kips Bay. It's lovely over there.
It is.
What's your question?
Well, first of all, I'm huge fans of both of you. Thank you both for sharing so much of yourselves with the world.
Thank you.
So I'm very nervous.
Oh, don't be nervous. It's just family here.
It's very nice. Through the process of creativity and creation, what's the most surprising thing that you've learned about yourself?
That I'm good. Yeah.
Yes, you are. Yes,
Well,
you
you know
are.
what? You can't, if you know you're good, you have to say it. And, people will say, well, that's bragging. It's like, no. If I don't tell you, you're not going to know. You're going to assume from looking at me that I'm something else. I'm good at what I do. And that was the thing that surprised me when everyone kind of said, well, you never, look at you. And I was like, yeah, now, look at me.
Thank you.
Thank you. I'm going to just add to that. As I've gotten older, I didn't factor in that my intuition, I could trust it as much as I do now. I have an innate ability, as we all do, to go, that feels right. It's like it's factoring in weather, velocity, I'm making this up, distance, what I know, what I've gathered. I can put all of that together and go, I choose that one. And it ends up being the right choice.
Thank you.
That and Botox have really helped me. Thanks, Tammy. All right, what's your name? Where are you from?
Hello, my name is Manon.
Wait a minute. You got an accent up in there.
I'm
Manon.
French, but I live in Montreal, Canada.
Oh, from Montreal. Woo! And what's your question?
What's your favorite failure?
Oh, I don't know. Miss Goldberg, Lady Goldberg can handle that.
I'll tell you a kind of a fast story. So when I was a kid, I had a great friend, best friend in the world named Rosie. And Rosie was always put together, fabulous woman, great kid, great friend, wonderful. I was always a hippie, so I always had puffs and I had my overalls. I look pretty much like I look now. We were going to see Romeo and Juliet, and she came down and she went, "Is that what you're wearing?" And I was like, "Yeah." She's like, "I'm not going out with you dressed like that." And I was like, "Well, I don't understand. I'm clean. I don't get it." She said, No, we're going we should not, you can't go to the movies looking like that with me. I'm just not going to do it. So she left. She went to the movies. And I said to my mother, "Did I do something bad?" My mother said, "Do you think that you did?" And I said, "Well, no." She said, "Well, then what's the problem?" I said, "Well, why would she say that she wouldn't hang out?" She said, "Listen, are you comfortable with how you look?" And I was like, "Yes." And she said, "Then there's no question that you were fine. And as long as you always know that, you're in your correct place where you should be." So the failure was not calling Rosie the next day. But I waited a little while. And I said, we're best friends, and you still have to hang out with me regardless of what I look like, because I'm clean. I'm not dirty, I'm not nasty, whatever. And she said, "Oh, all right." We were like 11, okay? It's okay. But that was my failure, because I knew that it was okay for me to feel the way that I did, and I didn't say right away, "Listen, I have every right to say no.
Right.
I'm not gonna change." What about you?
When I was 28, I was sleeping on my sister Rosie's couch. She's right there. Hi, Rosie.
Hey, Rosie.
She's younger than I am. I had moved out to LA from New York. And I was a big flop. I couldn't get a job. I couldn't get anything. I ended up, by Christmas time, I was back at my mother's house in San Diego. I'd gained about 25 pounds, and it was my Saturn returns. I was 28, so it was just a dark period. That was a huge failure for me. But what got me out of it was a great lesson. My friend who he called me and he called me and said, "What are you doing? Wake up, Dorothy. Get out of that poppy field. Wake up and get your ass back to New York. I'm gonna buy you a ticket to get back here. In a week, you'll get enough go-go dancing gigs to pay me back, and get your took us back to New York and remember what you started out to do. Don't just wallow there. And it was a great lesson because, and I did just that. I got on that plane and I came back here and I worked harder than ever before. But I needed someone to remind me of who I am, and I need you to remind that I have a tribe. He was a tribe member. It's Larry T, who was a dear old friend of mine, who did that, and I learned to rely on my tribe. You know, a lot of times, like in The Wizard of Oz, where you need someone to say, "Wake up, Dorothy! Wake up!" And that was a failure, but it was also one of the biggest lessons I ever learned. Thank you, Manu.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You guys have been fabulous. Give Whoopi Goldberg a big round of applause. Thank you. And thank you for coming to DragCon New York. Lovely. I love you. Bye.